Re-ranking the rookies and the sophomores, taking a gander at last year's rookie class, comparing it and weighing it out against this year's incoming rookie class, and we're doing what we call super rookie rankings like I've done for 20 plus years on the fantasyfootballshow.com. Get your year-round rankings, bold predictions on the fantasyfootballshow.com, but we're talking about these super rookie right here, super rookie rankings. We're essentially going to do that, work it out. Now, why would you do super rookie rankings? Why would you leave out juniors and fourth year, fifth year, sixth year, seventh year players? Because it gives you a good sense of the foundation and youth movement going on in the NFL from a rising star perspective. So let's break down the rookies and sophomores only and kind of rank them for 2025. And this will be from a dynasty perspective, but we'll certainly have all kinds of redraft conversation along with it. The Fantasy Football Show. Malik Neighbors, Bucky Irvin, JD5, rookie, sophomore ranking show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the fantasyfootballshow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Live whenever news breaks. Live, a lot of graveyard shifts, which is after our After Dark show, which is midnight Eastern. Anytime I do it. Those are all kind of random. Usually during the year, it's Friday, Saturday, it's Sunday. It's like clockwork. During the off season, it kind of depends. I'm also live whenever news breaks. We're here to talk about the rookie and sophomores only. Who is the number one overall rookie and sophomore, like combined? Like, who is the guy we're putting number one overall? If we're, let's say, going into this year's rookie only draft, but we get to throw in all of last year's rookies too. Who's going number one overall? You guys know pretty damn well my answer. My answer is the guy that I think could be this guy right here. That could be the number one overall wide receiver in 2025, but certainly my number one or two, or at least three wide receiver in Dynasty. No doubt about it. And we're not talking about Superflex. We're talking about normal 1 QB. So Neighbors is easily that guy. Let me go ahead and switch over to board view, and we'll do an should we do an overall? Let's do an overall. We might do some sort of so 20, 24 and 2025 rookies. Okay, so this is a rookie ranking of these two classes. So is this pen out? Might be out. Do it live. Switch over. Number one is going to be Malik Neighbors, our boy. I gotta prime this pen. Hang tight. Come on, buddy. There we go. I got it. Okay. So number one is going to be Neighbors. There we go. Malik Neighbors. Number two. This one's pretty tough. We got BT. We got Jeanty. There's a handful of players like JD5, even at 1 QB, we're still thinking about. JD5's impact is so great. This is a top, this is like getting Josh Allen. Bucky, Jeanty, Bucky, BT. I don't think, Bowers, I think, we're talking about premium. Bowers would maybe be next. But if we're talking about normal, 1 PPR per player, not anything extra for tight ends. So we're looking at Jeanty, Bucky, BT, and Brock Bowers. Very curious what you guys think in the chat. Drop your preference here. What are you guys thinking here? Bowers 3, JD5, BT. I'm not going to go off what you guys say, but I'm very curious to know what your thoughts are as we go. So drop your next name on the board. AK says JD5. In a 1 QB, I wouldn't, but it doesn't mean he's not, worthy of this pick. BTJ says Matt O. Tough call says Vice. Bowers number 3. Okay, we'll get there. BTJ JD5. BTJ JD5 Bowers. What about Jeanty? What about Bucky? Neighbors has the best overall talent, but Harrison will be, I don't know. Not right now. It's Neighbors for me. Harrison doesn't even have the situation. BT number 2. BT, Bowers, BT, Neighbors, Jeanty, BT from Travis. We got Jeanty from Mark. Man, this is a tough call. It's really close. I almost want to put a tie between Jeanty and BT. I know that's kind of lame to not pick. But if we were to go Jeanty, BT, J at this 2-3, you know, kind of a tie. 4, geez, you know, Bowers, Bucky, MHJ, JD5. I don't think MHJ is going to crack the top 5. Or, yeah, I don't think he can. We're talking right now, Bucky, Bowers. Give me Bowers. Let's see. Let's make sure we're not missing anybody. BT, Neighbors, MHJ, Bucky. Okay. Bo Nix and May are later, but you know, definitely going to be in the top 10-ish. But Bowers would be next, and then probably Bucky would be 5. So your top 5 are Neighbors, Jeanty, BT, Bowers, Bucky. So tough. It's such a tough crew. I mean, these rookies and sophomores are monsters, man. I mean, they're literally, this is a top 5 overall player. This is a top 5 to 10 overall player. This is a top 5 to 7 overall player in BTJ. This is a top, you know, he's number 1 tight end, but top 15 overall player. Bucky's a top 15 overall player, but he goes a little later right now. I mean, we're loading up the big board. We're loading up the ADP. Our top 15 overall are just littered with these guys. What a class. What a 2 classes these 2 classes are. McConkey, definitely, you know, maybe next, I guess. JD5 probably first, I think. So we'll go, so we got Jeanty and BT. Let's write this better. Let's go. So 2/3 tied. Jeanty, BTJ. Get rid of these confusing numbers, right? Okay. So now we're gonna come on over to the number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10. We'll do the top 10 maybe, and then we can kind of positionally have conversations throughout the rest of the show with the phone lines open, and we'll just reference the board as we go. So Bucky's off the board. Next up would be either MHJ, Ladd McConkey, Scattaboo, Hampton, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr., I think I said Travis Hunter, Ted McMillan, Jalen McMillan, the McMillan boys, Xavier Worthy, Dylan Sampson, Caleb Johnson. I mean, so this is a damn good class. Wow. Yeah, Tez Johnson's pretty good. Not this early though, bro. he's like a sleeper for sure, but you can't be throwing Tez. Don't listen to the hype. Everyone's all hyped about him because he's made a couple big catches. Everyone likes to talk about Tez Johnson like they found him. Like, Tez Johnson, have you ever heard this kid? He's a hype right now. He's made some good moves. Very quick kid. Very much in the conversation of 12 to 15 maybe, for sure. But we're not putting him here. He's a little early here, but I like him. He's good. He's good. He's just like 150 pounds, soaking wet. Neighbors, Jeanty, BTJ, Bowers, Bucky. Let's go JD5. Let's go. Do we go Ladd over MHJ? I don't know, man. I really believe MHJ, talent-wise, is still an absolute monster. Just a top 5 physical specimen. Problem is, he plays with Kyler Murray. Problem is, Kyler Murray hates him, and I just don't know. I don't know where we put him. Ted McMillan, I like. You know, that's a tough one. This takes some balls of steel to come out here and say, I'd rather have Ted McMillan. I'm not necessarily saying that I want it, but I kind of do. I'd rather have Ted McMillan than Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey is such a good player. Such a good player. feels very much like a T. Higgins, like very good player, could absolutely be a top 10 wide receiver at any moment. I like Ladd a lot, but is Ted McMillan is he the best shot at the next top 5 wide receiver? Ted McMillan or Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, I like him a lot. I don't know. I'm a little torn. I'm not going to lie. I'm not completely cemented on where I like Travis Hunter yet. I think if I'm an NFL team, I'm drafting him ahead of Ted McMillan in some cases because he provides you the opportunity to play defensive back as well. And you could say that's a mistake if you want. I don't know. That's preference here. But Ted McMillan, I kind of feel like it's going to be an unpopular take here to go Ted then Ladd. There's a lot of Ladd believers, and rightfully so. But Ladd, you got Scattaboo, you got Caleb Johnson, Dylan Sampson, Trevion Henderson, then the rookie QBs, the Ward and Sanders. What a crew. This is so tough to rank. If I could get rid of all of my players and have nothing but sophomores and rookies, I could create a dynasty that could reign for 10, 15 years. This is such a great group. Hampton, it depends where he goes. Scattaboo, depends where he goes. I'm going to go Ted McMillan. And then I'm going to go Ladd. Which I know a lot of people will want Ladd above Ted, but it just depends on how much how valuable you view the kid. Scattaboo, Travis Hunter, Bo Nix, Drake May, Penix Jr., Dylan Sampson I love a lot, but he's such a sleeper, He's not even, he's hard to rank here. He's one of those guys that you footnote, like a footnote saying, Dylan Sampson, learn about it, okay? You're not going to rank him in the top 10. We're not trying to train people to draft him in the top 10. I want people to understand they might even, if you were drafting today, get Dylan Sampson in the 3rd round if you were drafting today in a rookie-only draft. Because no one knows, no one cares, no one understands how good he is, and he may not land, in an amazing spot. Hunter, and then Scat, Caleb, and Hampton. I can't even read that. Hold on. We'll go Scat, Hampton, and what do we say? Caleb. And then Dylan Sampson's the footnote. We're essentially saying don't worry, Dylan Sampson is gonna be amazing. I mean, damn, Let's do that. I don't know. I'm having trouble getting this. I'll work on that angle. Are we missing anybody? Who are we missing? Oh, what about MHJ? Shit. Let's do this. MHJ. Because I don't really want to move anybody around, but MHJ deserves to go kind of here with Ladd. I'd draft Ladd above MHJ maybe in a redraft mindset. Luther Burden. Yeah, you could put him, Burden, right here. Kind of in a tie for 10th. Then you got the rookie QBs. So we'll go over here. So 11 or, whatever. This is, this would be 10, 11. No, it would be 8, 9, 10. This would be 11, 12, 13, 14, 11 through 14. This would be 15 through 17 would be Nix, Penix, and May. So Neighbors, Jeanty, BT tied. Jeanty and BT tied for second. Bowers, Bucky, JD5, Ted McMillan, Ladd MHJ, Travis Hunter, Scattaboo, Hampton, Caleb, Luther Burden. He's a receiver. These are 3 running backs. And then Nix, May, Penix Jr. Who am I missing? Shador and Ward may be next. JJ McCarthy. Where's Caleb? Dylan Sampson, Tyrone Tracy. Dylan Sampson, Tyrone Tracy, Trevion Henderson, McMillan, Worthy. What an amazing group. What an amazing group of sophomores and rookies. I mean, God, that's such a good, talented group. I mean, this is going to infiltrate the rankings for a decade. This is crazy. Okay, dial into the phone line and let's talk about this. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
We'll have a conversation about where you rank these guys. So our top 5 was Neighbors, Jeanty, BT, Bowers, Bucky. Neighbors, Jeanty, BT. So Neighbors, Jeanty, BTJ. And BTJ and Neighbors were tied, remember? Thomas Jr. And then we have Bucky next. So Bucky next. I'm going to put this on screen so we have it on both of them. Bowers, Bucky. Bowers, Bucky, JD5. Bowers, Bucky, JD5. All right, dial in. Phone lines are open. Appreciate you all. Let's go get Bowers. Where you at, Bowers? Here you go. Got Bowers' mug right there. I've got JD5's mug right here. And Bucky. So it goes a little something like this. A little something like that. There we go. That's the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 overall, roughly in that order, with a Jeanty BT being kind of tied. Mbuka is very good as well. He would be in the conversation, probably right around where the quarterbacks are. His landing spot will vault him into the top 8 overall, top 7 overall, or keep him where the quarterbacks are. Dylan Sampson's landing spot will either alert people to his potential rise, because I love Dylan Sampson. It's like my dark horse favorite running back from this entire running back class. Where Luther Burden could fall, and then Mbuka could climb up, or Burden could climb up past Hunter, and Hunter could fall, depending on all the landing spots. So it really just kind of depends on the landing spots, which is an obvious thing. It's an obvious take, but we're not worried or scared. We're not scared Scotties from trying to go out on a limb and make these predictions. When people are like, oh, well, we don't know where Jeanty's going to go. Like, cry me a river. What, you're not going to take a stab at it? You're not going to make a prediction? What's wrong with you?
Call into the show. Call into the show.
What's wrong with you? You got JD5 Neighbors and MHJ in Dynasty. That's pretty good, easy. I like it. Bowers needs those TDs. I mean, he needs that quarterback, and that's what he's going to probably get. Scattaboo, I mean, you just saw him on the screen there, Dice Boy. Bucky is too good. He certainly is, bro. Hampton's going to feast. Depends on where he lands, but yes, of course, a lot of upside there. A lot of upside. I like Hampton a lot. I like this entire running back class. People that say that the class is weak, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's a really good class, man. It's a really good class. Ted McMillan's fantastic. Let me rewrite Ted McMillan. This looks weird. So we'll go McMillan. Ted. There we go. This is a confusing one. MHJ. It's like, freaking Kyler. I have Jeanty and Bijan, Burrow, MHJ, Brees. Nice job, Mark. That's quite a squad there, pal. AK says Bowers to the moon. I got JD5 neighbors. I mean, Shay feels like I could mix 2 to 5 and still be good. Great list, Smitty. 2 and 5. Oh, Bucky and Jeanty. Yeah, I mean, it's totally arguable. What's up, Travis? You're live. What's going on?
Yeah, MHJ is tough, but I just have to give it the benefit of the doubt that they're going to get him the ball. Like, if not, like, I'm at a loss for words. If not, I guess. Like,
well,
he'd probably literally request a trade, even though that's unheard of from a young guy. But the way he composes his business, he might.
I mean, don't you feel like Bijan kind of got mistreated for 2 years as well, in a way? Like, I'm sure Bijan didn't feel very good. I mean, Arthur Smith would take Bijan out of the game and put in Cordero Patterson. You know, him and Algier. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know that he's going to request a trade that early. But also, yeah, I mean, you might be at a loss for words, but aren't you already? Like, didn't you watch and I'm not saying I don't disagree with you. I got him freaking, high enough that I'm still counting on him coming around. But aren't you at a loss for words at what you just witnessed as a rookie? I mean, I am.
Yeah, I am. I guess, like, I think that's the right place for him for that reason, that ranking.
Good value.
But I seem to think the way him and his father did things, like you hear about with the trading card companies and contracts, and I don't think he's going to be quiet like Bijan was.
Maybe.
I don't see him being like a big diva, but
yeah,
I can't see him just sitting there wasting his career away.
I can't disagree with that.
But you're right. He might give it one more year.
I have Lamar. This is a inbox dynasty offer, 12-man super flex standard PPR. Higgins for Penix Jr. I have Lamar, Stafford, is that JJ McCarthy, JMC? You guys got to stop abbreviating things, and it's not universal, man. JMC, I have no idea who that is. I guess JJ McCarthy. J. McCarthy, I don't know. Kyron, Bijan, Mason, Mostert, Wright, Jamar, Debo, Cup. I think I would rather have Penix Jr. in a super flex, bro. Yeah, I like Higgins a lot. There's a lot of hype probably coming downstream, from when he gets traded and, franchise tagged and traded or wherever he ends up. There's going to be a lot of hype. You could maybe get more when that hype is popping. But who's to say that Penix Jr.'s hype doesn't climb at the same rate, even without anything happening, just people talking about him, and all of a sudden people are drafting him higher, and it's just, naturally he climbs in Superflex. So I give me the quarterback, bro. Give me the quarterback all day. Not to mention, you got a pretty good team. I know that your wide receivers are aging a little bit in Debo and Cup, but you got Jamar and Devontae Smith. You'll be fine. Give me that quarterback value. Shop Stafford if you can, and maybe upgrade somebody like Cup or Debo in some sort of Stafford deal, like where you can go buy a MHJ, like we're talking about, where everyone's worried as can be, about him. But Gary, good stuff. Give me Penix, bro. You like Penix over Higgins in a super flex, Travis? If your second quarterback is Stafford, though, I mean, are you okay with Stafford, or I'm okay with it, but
no, I'm okay with it.
He's older.
I want Penix because he has Lamar, so you have Lamar and Penix for the next 5 years.
Yeah,
essentially, or even if you're just playing the next 2 or 3, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Plus, Superflex league having 3 quarterbacks is pretty important if you can have that third stud. So have a good roster.
And Stafford, I mean, just naturally the way these things usually work, Stafford's like hanging on by a thread.
Yep.
He's going to get a brand new deal, and guess what's going to happen? As soon as he gets paid, he's going to go to trash. So I don't know.
Yep.
Hunter will play defense and also another 7 to 10 plays on offense per game. I don't think we know what to expect. I think everyone assumes that he won't play full-time wide receiver if he plays defense, and I don't know that I would. I know it's going to be harder at the NFL level to do it, but I mean, I think we just got to wait and see. Everybody's guessing. Nobody knows what he's going to do. No one knows if he's even going to play both sides of the ball. I think he will, but I don't know that it's going to limit him as a young man. I don't think he's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to take a bunch. He's probably going to play a lot. I don't know. We'll have to see. I really like Hunter. He's hungry. He's not looking to load manage, early on in his career. I don't think maybe he does later. Who knows? But this is kind of exciting. If anybody that had, and I'm not calling him Bo Jackson at all, but if anybody remembers Bo Jackson, it was such an exciting time when a guy was playing two sports and he was just totally doing stuff that you never would have expected somebody to do, and you're just like, it was such a fun feeling. You get a little bit of that feeling where you're like, okay, this could be really cool, and everybody's saying you shouldn't do it, you can't do it. Oh, he's not going to be able to fully do it. Who knows? If he goes out there and plays full-time D-back and full-time wide receiver, I'm going to be enjoying that. And he's going to be such an IDP cheat code. I don't even know that any of us know how to digest that yet.
Yeah. And, I mean, like you said, it'll be harder at the NFL level, but he has a stamina to do it. And so, like, if you're going to play him on offense, you got to give him more than 7 to 10 plays because, like, that's just like a gadget player. What's the point?
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be a wide receiver before he's a D-back, like if it comes down to it. So, in my opinion. But this is a guy that wants the spotlight. He wants the ball in his hands. He wants to score touchdowns. I think he's foregoing playing defense if that's going to be a problem. But he'll also, if he's going to play part-time anything, it'll be part-time D, full-time O, in my opinion. My guess, and that's my guess. Everybody's guessing at this point, but I don't think he's going to part-time the offensive side of the most exciting part. He's going to be like, okay, get out there. It's trips right, 5 wide receiver set. Like he's going to come in and off the field, be ready to go, be dialed in. I like that. Watching Hunter on the sideline, he's got to pay attention like no other player because he's got to, potentially go in at any moment. But I think part-time it'll be defense more than it would be offense. I'm not expecting him to sit a bunch of offensive plays.
I think a lot of people are leaning towards the defense thing because that's like the smoke that's out there right now. So many GMs, anonymous GMs, of course, said, "Oh, I'd only play him on defense," and it's like, well, put your name to it then. Nothing that I'll believe you.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Anybody you would move around aggressively different? I mean, landing spots might move Hampton or Caleb or Scattaboo up like 4 spots. Like everyone needs to understand that. I see a lot of JD5 question mark. Like, what does anybody think this is low or high? I don't understand all the JD5 question marks. JD5 at 6 eyeballs. Like what do you? We're talking about a 1 QB. 1 QB, you're taking JD5 in a 1 QB draft behind every single one of these guys. You're never once going to draft JD5 ahead of Bucky, Bowers, BT, Jeanty, or Neighbors in a 1 QB redraft. So what makes anybody think that this is wild? I don't know if they mean too early or what. It's got to be late. I don't know.
I didn't know what he meant.
It's a 1 QB. It's a 1 QB. Like, what are you going to do? I could see somebody going, look, I want the foundation of JD5 for 15 years instead of Bucky, maybe. Like, but I don't know that it warrants an eyeball emoji. Preference, it's fine. If it was
I was going to say
go ahead.
In the 1 QB, like, I think JD5 is the only guy that should probably be on the list because he could be the number 1 player in fantasy. Where, and Drake May, Bo Nix, those are just, they can be really good, but I don't know if they're going to quite get to the level in fantasy that JD5's at.
Yeah. And in Superflex, I mean, it would be a lot different. In Superflex, JD5 would be 1. Bo Nix and Penix and Drake May would be in much mingling in the top 12, top 10, top 5. Not all of them, but I mean, I'd probably draft Jeanty and BT over every quarterback but JD5, but in Superflex, JD5 would go 1. And then I think Nix, May, and Penix start mixing in after Jeanty, BT, Bowers. I mean, as much as probably you could still consider Bucky, but, if you were to go heavy Bucky, Bowers, BTJ, and Jeanty in a super flex, let's say. You go JD5 at 1, and you go Neighbors, Jeanty, BT, Bucky, and Bowers. It would literally then probably be the 3 quarterbacks right after. Like if you were to try and punt quarterback a little longer. But it depends. I mean, a lot depends for me what my team looks like. If I've got Lamar and, let's use that example that the other guy had, Stafford and Lamar, I'm not as likely to pass on Jeanty, BTJ, Bowers, or Bucky for a quarterback because I'm pretty damn good at quarterback. And while it'd be nice to have Penix Jr. Over, somebody, I don't need it. So I'm going to go Bucky, Bowers, BT, or Jeanty. Like, they're just not, like you just said, they're not as powerful as JD5. JD5 is like light years ahead of everybody. It doesn't mean Nix can't be a top 7, top 8 quarterback, top 6 quarterback some years. Doesn't mean Drake May can't be 5 to 10 at some point, or Penix Jr., but they're not there now. So in a super flex, you really do need to consider Bucky, Bowers, BTJ, Jeanty above those quarterbacks if you have a good quarterback stable. If you don't, I'm not saying don't take one of the quarterbacks, but I'm going to say doesn't mean I'm excited about it for you. The fact that you got to go position of need over talent means that you didn't, draft right the first time. Or you're so imbalanced. Maybe you look to trade versus just force yourself to take a quarterback. And I'm not saying these are bad quarterbacks. I just mean, trade down a little bit or something. But I would put JD5 1 in Superflex. Dial in if anybody else wants to have a conversation about this.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I like this rookie and sophomore class, man. It is so good.
The landing spot for the running backs will be really interesting because that'll shift some things around here and there. Because, like we talked about, there's so many good running backs in this class. A few of them are bound to end up on a team where it actually pulls their value down, which is too bad, but it's a fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So Jeanty, like of all these guys here, 3 of the top 6 here could be top 10 overall dynasty players. So Neighbors, Jeanty, BT, and Bowers.
Pretty amazing.
That's crazy. That's crazy. 4 out of 10, 40%, of the top 10, future top 10. That's wild. And Bowers, I don't know that I'd draft Bowers there, but the value is very arguable, and I understand anybody taking him there. 810 caller, you're live. Where are you calling from? 810, and what's your name?
Michigan.
What's your name, bro?
My name's Kiefer.
What's up, Kiefer from Michigan? What can I do for you?
Sorry, I can barely hear you, but man, how can you have Ashton Jeanty so high? I mean, do you really think he's going to be a top rookie running back?
No, I just have him there because I don't feel that, Kiefer.
Yeah, you have him my number 2 because you don't think he's that good?
Well, I'm asking you, why would I have him this high? Like, you're asking me a hypothetical question, like, do you really think Jeanty's that high? I just ranked him that high, so of course I do, Kiefer. I mean,
oh, okay. I mean, what do you see from him that you think he's going to transition to the big leagues?
Maybe he's the best running back we've ever seen come out of college since Barry Sanders.
He's smaller than Kyron Williams, isn't he?
He's about the exact same size, practically. But he's stockier, he's built. But what's wrong with that? What's wrong with what about all these running backs that are supposed to get hurt? Achane, Gibbs, and Kyron. They didn't get hurt last year, bro. I don't know what this.
So you think he's gonna? You think he's a 2-way player?
250 pounds.
Why? Kiefer, why you keep asking me? Do you think he's going to be good? So you think he should be ranked number 2? This is my ranking, Kiefer. I'm literally telling you that he's number 2 or 3. He's tied with BTJ, and I do believe he is potentially the next Adrian Peterson. He's the next guy that for like. Well, why? How is that a wow? How is that a wow? I'm just curious. Like, have you not been following college football? He's literally been the belle of the ball. Like I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
understand how that's bold.
Oh, okay. So, what's the top 10 pick, first round?
He's going to go around 11 to 14 overall. It's just going to depend on obviously landing spot's going to determine a lot. If he goes somewhere cloudy, he's going to plummet. And that could be good, it could be bad. If he goes, let's say, to Cleveland, or let's say they traded down and they took him. I'm not saying he will. Let's say he goes to the Raiders. Let's say he goes to Jacksonville. Those are all pretty good landing spots where if he's taken inside and he'll go in the... Do you realize he's going to go in the top 10 overall in the draft?
Because if he goes to a bad team, he's got to be taken off the list.
No. He's got to be taken off what list, Kiefer?
Your top 10 rookie list.
No. Do you realize he'll be drafted at the 1.1 or 1.2 no matter what? What do you mean take him off the top 10 list, Kiefer? He's never going to be. He's never going to be removed from the top. He's never going to be taken off the top 3 list, no matter where he goes. He could go to the CFL, and he's still getting drafted in the top 3 overall, even if you can never use him. I don't care if he doesn't get drafted by a single NFL team. He's still going to the top 3 of a rookie draft, Kiefer. There's no taking him out of the top 10. What are you talking about?
Okay.
If he goes to a bad, you got to take him off your list. Where have you been the entire season? I mean, this is the wildest take I've ever heard, Kiefer. It's almost as if you think you've got like other people on your side about it. Yeah, the whole world is going to be like, Kiefer, what are you talking about? This is maybe you're predicting him not to be as good as everybody's saying, but the way you're coming across is if you have no idea that everybody's saying it. Like it's you're shocked. You're like, you have him high at 3. Have him high at 3. He's the consensus 1.1 right now. If you're drafting in a rookie-only draft, he's the 1.1. The only reason he's not 1 here is because we're mixing in the sophomores. But he's the 1.1, bro. That's not me. That's the entire world but you.
What don't you like about him? I'm curious. Is it just his size, or what is it that you don't like? I'm genuinely curious.
I can tell you.
I like him. I just don't think he's proved his worth in the NFL yet.
You don't like him, Kiefer.
Number 2, Neighbors proved his worth. Brian Thomas Jr. proved his worth. Bucky proved his worth. Bowers proved his worth. Jeanty, we don't know how he's going to play in the pro
That's
league.
a scare. No crap. We don't know. Like what?
Didn't you say like Caleb Williams was like top 1, top 2, and look at him, bro. He didn't do that good. I'm just saying.
That's good.
That's a good one, bro. So apparently I liked Caleb Williams. Kiefer, I don't think you've watched this show ever. I don't think you've been here much at all. You must have just found the show.
I'm new.
Okay, so what
But
makes you... Okay, so
pretty
what...
sure you claim...
You're pretty sure I claimed what? Say it again for the people watching.
Before season, didn't you say you had Caleb Williams top 5?
Get him 5th quarterback.
I had him as the 5th quarterback, bro.
Yeah.
I think he's trash. Kiefer, you haven't been here in, I don't know, you're mixing up things. The bottom line is this. You came in hot about Jeanty being 3. He's tied for 2-3. He's tied for 2-3. Him and BT I made abundantly clear that it's the 2-way tie at the 2 spot. It sounds to me like you don't have the 1.1, so you just don't want to be on board this train. And then for you to make a claim that you like Jeanty, you can't like Jeanty. You can't say the things you've said today and say you like Jeanty. You don't get to do that. Because you're basically saying, if you go somewhere cloudy, you got to take him off the top 10 list. You can't like Jeanty if you were saying that. You also can't like Jeanty if in a rookies and sophomore ranking, you have a problem with them being in the top 3. You just can't like him. You can't like him, Kiefer. You just can't.
So you think he's a 2nd round pick? Fantasy?
Well, when I said he was 11 to 14, yeah, I think he's 11 to 14 overall. I think he's a fantastic 2nd drafted player. I think where he goes will determine some things, but when you make statements like, oh, Neighbors has proven himself, BT's proven himself. Bro, they've been in the league. Jeanty hasn't. And so you can't really hold that against him unless you're a scared Scotty, which is fine. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be overly cautious or whatever, but that's one stance. That's not a stance that you can project on everybody else, where you come in and you go, well, you don't even know. You can say, I know I'm a little bit of an oddball here. This is what I would say if I was you. I'd come in and go, I know I'm a little bit of an oddball here, but I'm kind of, I need to see it happen before I believe. I know, it's so boring, but that's my take. You instead come in and act like this is a stance that everybody else shares. You're like, what do you think, guys? You guys, let's get Smitty. You like Jeanty? You haven't even seen it. You know how many times people told me, JD5, you haven't seen it. Let's see him prove it before we believe in him.
So wherever he goes, he's getting all the touches, huh?
All right, I got to go, Kiefer. I appreciate you. Oh, man.
Finish him.
I don't know. That's like pulling teeth, man. It's like taking a big dump.
It's entertaining. Cat was entertaining.
That's just wild. The wildest part about everything he said was, no, I like Jeanty. I hate that. I hate when people say they like someone after they clown on them. Like they're trying to get a foot in the door and have a foot out the door so that they can go either. No, at the end of the, remember, like at the end of the year, Jeanty's top 5, whatever. And Kiefer calls in and we go, hey, Kiefer, how do you like that? No, I liked him. I did. I just didn't think he was top 10. I didn't think he's top 10.
Yeah, but just say you don't like him.
John,
say you don't like him, and then if you're wrong, say, "Oh, I was wrong."
John, you're live.
Hey, Smitty, on that on the whiteboard, would you mind putting? Or I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't ask this, but can you put like what you would be willing to trade and picks wise for each of those players?
I can't fit
if
that
you
on,
can,
John.
That's probably too much to ask
Yeah,
for.
I
don't know.
There's not a lot of. I can barely fit what I've
And
got
dynasty.
There. The only thing I could fit on there is Achan if I got it, but I can't. I would just say like, I mean that's like asking me to cook 18,000 Flaming Youngs live on the live stream, bro. That's gonna be hard to dial up all of that.
First round picks you're gonna need if you're trading for or trading away. They're all elite players.
John, why don't you just throw a couple things at me and I'll tell you yes or no. That'd be a little easier because I can't mock up 18 scenarios for each of these players on this board. You'll be able to read it.
Well, not like different scenarios, but just say what they're worth, like 2 firsts, 1
just hit
first,
me with
3 firsts.
just hit me with a couple questions. Neighbors is I honestly I'd take it depends on where the first round is. There's so many variables involved. But would I surrender like literally 3 first-round picks for Neighbors if I thought my team was not even going to earn like a really high first-round picks? Yes, absolutely. Jeanty, same thing. BT, same thing. Bowers, same thing. I'm not scared to surrender my future in draft picks if I'm getting a player that can help me win. But am I doing it with a team that can't win and that's the only player I'd have? Probably not. But you know, I think Jeanty, BT, and Neighbors and Bowers are very special. And if you went to somebody and you said, "Here's 2 mediocre first-round picks," I'm projected to be a top 4 or 5 team. Maybe you're not even the number 1, but you're projected to be top 4. And you go to this person, you're like, "Here's 2 first-round picks for Jeanty, 2 first-round picks for Neighbors." They're gonna laugh at you. So you have to pay 3. And even then, I don't know if someone's gonna do it. I've been in leagues where you could literally get Neighbors for 2 first-round picks. You know, it's been wild. Like that's the kind of value people have over first-round picks. And I've been in another league where you couldn't trade 5 first-rounders for Neighbors. Like each community you're drafting in is going to be very different from one another. And you know where the picks are.
I know it's kind of like an obvious statement for some people, but others don't know this. Depending on the size of the league, obviously too, like and especially like 10-team leagues, you want the studs because you know just build your team off of studs if you can in 10-team leagues because less teams, the more guys, more studs you have, the better. Which sounds obvious, but people miss that sometimes. We try to put things together and get too creative in trades, and if you can get studs like that, get them.
Yeah. So many variables involved. If you got another one, hit me with it real quick.
I don't know. I'm kind of with that one guy. I'm probably going against the grain here. The one thing that concerns me about Ashton Jeanty is the number of carries he had in college in order to get the stats that he was. They were giving it to him 27, 30-plus times every single game. And then you look at a guy like the Scattaboo dude who was kind of secretly carrying the entire team the whole year without having to carry the ball as many times. And I know he played great against Oregon, and I know he did somewhat well, but I don't know. I'm kind of can the Omarion Hampton dude do a little better? Can Caleb Johnson do better? Can Quinshon Judkins do better? Can Trevion Henderson do better? Even the two guys out of Penn State, I think one of them, Singleton, and I don't know how high his ceiling is compared to some of the other running backs we've seen over the years.
Scared money don't make money. I understand where you're coming from, John. I'm not saying your take is crazy. There are a lot of people that share that view, and that's a more acceptable view. I'm not hanging up on you or yelling and screaming at your take. You came in with I know I'm kind of out of the ordinary here, but I'm afraid of Jeanty because I haven't seen it and his workload was high. Whereas the other cat came in hot and it was you have Jeanty in the top 3 of your rookies and sophomores? Do you think he's going to be good? Well, he is in my top 3. So we're going to go ahead and say, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. But the thing about it for me is that, especially if you watch Jeanty play, his balance, his ability to literally be upright at the end of a majority of his plays, the wear and tear is not quite what you might think. There's a lot of times where this man's just, breaking off run after run after run, and he's standing upright at the end of it. I'd be very curious to know what the amount of tackles, aggressive tackle. There's got to be a way at some point. I would love to have these stats, and maybe I'm the one that creates this movement. But how many aggressive tackles he received versus how many non-aggressive tackles he received, or how many times, his touches were left upright out of bounds, or he scored a touchdown and he didn't touch the turf, or the grass. So I understand that the mileage is a lot, but you also rarely see a running back come out of college that's only played really 2 years of football where the mileage is going to ruin their career. It's very rare. Look at Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had more mileage than I think really anybody you can find coming out of high school. And he had probably, I don't know what it ranks anymore, but about 2 years ago, Derrick Henry's biggest season ranked top 5 in the national, or in the FBS for workload. It was one of the top 5 most, aggressive seasons a running back's ever had. It floated there. I'm sure Jeanty's passed that. I'm sure a couple others have passed that. But Henry came out of college and high school with the most mileage you could possibly have. Derrick Henry ran for 300 to 400 yards per game in high school. So the wear and tear, it doesn't really matter. Not when you're playing. It's not like you're playing 4 years of 300 carries. You had a 300 carry season, Jeanty. Then you had a 220 carry season, I believe. So it's it's not something that's going to ruin his career. I don't think so. Not at a young age, especially with this style of play. People that are scared of Jeanty, and it's okay. I understand. I think what it is there's a lot of people that they've been hit hard by MHJ. They've been hit hard by Najee Harris. They've been hit hard by other running backs that they've gone all in on, or wide receivers even, as rookies, and they fail. And a lot of people like to pin a previous performance on another player. But the truth is, we just saw Neighbors and BTJ finish as wide receiver 4 and wide receiver 6 in all of fantasy football wide receiver scoring. These guys were 4 and 6 as rookies. JD5 was an elite top 5 quarterback. Bowers was the number 1 tight end. There's plenty of examples. People just kind of ignore those and they focus on the ones that have failed. Who cares if MHJ failed? We saw so many other players smash as rookies. I'm not scared of Jeanty at all, and I don't hold any previous player's performance or lack thereof against Jeanty. Jeanty's his own person, going to his own situation, and he's going to be a top 10 overall pick. And any team that spends a top 10 overall pick on Jeanty is going to be using him. They will not bury him on the bench. They can't. That's too high draft capital to use a player part-time. Unless Arthur Smith is the coach. Then you never know. But John, don't be scared. John, maybe avoid him in one league, but if my advice to you is at least play best ball underdog fantasy promo code Smitty. Link is going to be dropped in the live chat. At least do some underdog best ball drafts, bro, where you're gobbling up a ton of Jeanty shares at $3 and $5 a pop, and at least you get your fix there, bro, because you're going to be very, very disappointed if you're not on this train as the year goes on. And we're all celebrating the man that is Ashton Jeanty, top 5 running back. The man that is, what is he on, the Saturn Man?
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Jeanty! All right, anything else, bro? John?
No, have a good night, Smitty. Thanks.
All right, later. Scared money don't make money. Scared money don't make money.
And like you said, being so young, I know this past year he had 374 carries at the top, but the year before he had 220, which is a good workload for college. But guys have done it before, where I know we're going back a little bit. I think Jonathan Taylor had an insane workload coming out of college, and Brees had a pretty good workload. Chase Brown his last year had close to 300 carries, if not more. So guys do it.
Have some of my scared money. Just curious when we will be drafting for the Patreon Dynasty League. I'm pretty excited about it. I got to go through all that. Kenny Powers, I've got it all. I got it all organized. And then I got to give away 2 more spots, but hang tight, Dan, on that one. But appreciate you, my guy. Did you win one of the leagues? Congratulations if you did. What's Clint saying here? Smitty doesn't have grid for college levels. He might say D3 player got 2,000 yards and it's impressive. Should at least acknowledge they play trash teams. PSU bent Jeanty to watch that game. Smitty doesn't have grid. What are you talking about, Clint? You want to retype this so we understand what the hell you're trying to hate on? Smitty doesn't have grid for college levels. He might say a D3. What are you trying to say? I don't know college football, Clint? Is that what you're trying to say? Because you're embarrassing yourself. Sometimes it's like you say things. Clint, have I not gained any college scouting respect from you? And second of all, I've been scouting college football players since you were sharding in your diapers. If you might not even been born. You might not have even been born when I started to professionally scout players on NBC and CBS Sports Radio for 19 straight years. You were barely sharding in your pants.
I don't get the people that say, "Oh, Penn State killed Jeanty." He's one of, I think, 2 guys that went over 100 yards against him this season. Like, he was one of the only guys who did anything against Penn State.
So Clint, what are you trying to say? Reword it. We're all waiting. What are you trying to say, Clint? And not to mention, like, even if you didn't know, even if, let's say, Clint has no idea that I've done this for a living for 23 plus years. Clint, let's pretend you don't know that. Let's pretend you're embarrassed right now. Okay, and you didn't know that. Have I not earned any respect from last year? Like, my JD5 prediction and scouting of JD5, when there was as much doubt about JD5 as really any player at that level that we've seen. Oh, he's too small. He's going to get hurt. He's not going to be that good. Have I not earned any sort of leeway with you, Clint? Clint, we're waiting for you. Clint, are you going to cop out on your hating on Smitty comment? This is a different Clint, by the way. Boise State. This is not a different Clint. This Clint is the same Clint, as you try and cop out of your comment, that posted this Clint. With the purple C, same name. Smitty doesn't have grid for college levels. He might say D3 player got 2,000 yards and it's impressive. should at least acknowledge that they play trash teams. Clint's trying to pretend this isn't him.
Oh, he's backtracking now.
What's he saying?
You're 90% on the money. He said you're 90% on the money.
Clint's trying to stay around on the channel is what he's doing. Clint's holding on by a thread.
Oh, I mean, you should call in and push back. Like, nothing wrong with a debate.
Different,
you know?
Clint.
If he truly has one.
It's just... This is a different Clint. Oh my God. All right, dial into the show.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Unbelievable. What's up, Rock Out? You're live.
Rock out.
Rock Out.
Yeah, Smitty, do you got a preference in quarterback for Neighbors in New York?
Yes. I would love to see Neighbors get Justin Fields. If not Justin Fields, one of Shedeur or Cam Ward. If not Cam Ward, Justin Fields or Shedeur. I would want Sam Darnold. And I'm not saying I want
Ward
Sam.
would be interesting.
I'm not saying I want Sam Darnold.
I'm thinking Ward.
I'm not saying I want Sam Darnold on any grand, scale. I'm just saying that, like, when we run out of avenues, he is with Dable capable of doing what he did in Minnesota, because that Minnesota offense and that staff, they got the most out of him. And the only other person I can think of that can turn Fields around, because Fields is broken, and or turn Darnold around would be Dable in New York. So it's not a bad option. It's really not. Cousins would maybe be next, and then I'm not saying I like that. I'm just, what else are we going to hope for, Real quickly, 562 caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up? My name is Ernesto. I'm calling from Southgate, California.
What's up, Ernesto from Cali? What can I do for you?
Hey, what's up, Smitty?
What's up?
So I'm calling because, so this year, my home league, we all agreed that we're going to turn our league into a keeper league, and we're going to keep 2 players from our 2024 roster. Now, for sure, I want to keep Bijan. I had Bijan and I had JD5, but my friend is telling me that I'm crazy for wanting to keep JD5 because that's like if I'm taking him in the second round.
Hold on. Your friend's telling you that's in the same league who's saying you're crazy for wanting to keep JD5 because he wants you to release JD5 so that he can draft him. But go ahead. Tell me your other player that you have.
That's what I'm trying to tell him.
Well, you don't have to tell him anything.
Once we're talking about keepers, that it turns into dynasty value, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, well, it depends. I mean, is it dynasty and keeper are different? Is it you keep these players forever?
Yes, I could. I mean,
well, you gotta. I don't think you know.
Next year we're going from.
I don't think you know though.
So next year we're going from 2 keepers to 3 keepers.
Okay, but you got to find out if there's keeper limits. You got to look into this stuff because it does matter.
Yeah,
but
make sure you guys establish that because someone will try to change that next year if there isn't. Make sure that you guys establish that.
Find out if it's a full you keep everybody forever or there's a 3-year limit, 2-year limit. Is there a certain round that you're keeping them in, etc. But who is your other keeper, bro?
Okay.
Let's see if your friend is actually a friend. Do you even have an option that rivals JD5? Go ahead.
He was telling me to keep AJ Brown or DK.
Of course he was. Over JD5? Of course he was. Let me ask you a question. You're in a keeper league, not even dynasty, but a keeper league. Where are you drafting JD5? Ahead of DK, ahead of AJ Brown. Now, AJ Brown's interesting because he holds top 20 overall value for redraft, but in a keeper format, he probably falls behind JD5 for anybody that's using their brain. So when he says you're crazy to keep JD5, he's actually trying to screw you so he can get JD5. Does he have the 1.1? Does he have the 1.1?
No. No, he landed the 8th spot, and I'm going to be the fifth spot.
Okay, so you have a chance to
But
draft
I'm
back
fine.
whoever you want anyway. Yeah, bro.
Right.
JD5 is the keeper here. It's not like DK
Yeah.
or AJ Brown
keeping
can't.
him.
It's not like AJ Brown or DK can't fall to your pick that you have. JD5 might not. That whenever you're asking the question, what player should I keep? The answer is really clear. If you really step back, as long as you agree with the ADP, but you ask yourself, what player am I more likely to not be able to draft back? The answer is JD5, so that's the player you keep.
Right. And I'm keeping Bijan, so I'm happy about that.
This friend is not a friend, bro. He'd throw you a cinder block if you were drowning, bro. This guy is not it. He's not it, bro. Don't trust him. Don't trust him around your girl. Don't trust him around your mom.
Are those keeper rounds? Are those keeper rounds 1 and 2 for you? I mean, not that it really matters. I'm just curious.
So, according to our league manager, we're establishing our 2 keepers right before the draft. And then we already know we're going in reverse order. So 10th place goes first, and then first place goes last. And we already know the order of the draft from there. But we're all going to start with 2 keepers.
Yeah. Well, bro,
So that
you have,
doesn't affect your draft, then.
and it's a one keeper. It's a super flex, right? 1 quarterback draft or 1 quarterback league.
1 quarterback league, not super flex,
That'd be
but we are
flex,
playing
super
2 flex.
All right. Cool,
So I
bro.
was thinking for my 3rd keeper, because next year is going to be 3rd. Should I reach for like a player like Bowers that I know somebody's going to drop?
For sure, bro. Bowers, Jeanty, someone's going to keep Neighbors, but you could draft rookies.
okay.
So I would definitely draft Jeanty would be great if you can draft Jeanty at 5. You said you have 5. 5 would be awesome.
Right, and then keep him as my 3rd keeper, right?
Hell yeah.
All right.
Yeah, be very cognizant of your
Alrighty.
3rd pick. You want to make sure you're grabbing a guy
Okay.
that that you can.
Okay.
All right, bro. Later.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Man, I'd tell that friend to go kick rocks, bro. Bro, you're crazy. Why wouldn't you keep DK? I like DK, by the way. I very much like DK this year because I think he'll be free. But that's the whole point. He's free. He's going really late. And AJ Brown, I mean, one could argue in redraft, you draft AJ Brown over JD5. I mean, I understand that. I don't know that I would do it. I'd draft another player because AJ Brown worries me. But I could understand the redraft value there, the valuation. But in a dynasty or keeper, a long-term keeper, and he needs to find that out. If you're still listening, Ernesto, you got to find out how many years you can keep each of these players. You can't just not know and then make draft selections and decisions, not knowing, oh, I can only keep JD5 3 years. Well, that's still okay. This Ernesto sounds like the most laid-back guy. Like, you could go to Ernesto and say, like, make a trade with him. And he could go, we're keeping these guys forever. And then you could break the news to him later. Like, hey, Ernesto, you only get to keep JD5 for 1 more year. And he go, oh, man, that's all right.
Well, that's what someone will pull. Someone will definitely pull that on him,
Yeah, that's okay. He's such a laid-back guy. That's fine. I still get him for 1 year. I'm fine with it. Like, he's just, you could tell he doesn't care. He's just like, whatever. His buddy tried to.
Bijan and JD5, yeah. So they'll be like, well, actually, we can only keep for 1 year, so you got to drop on them.
His buddy tried to get JD5 and his girl from him, and he's still like, whatever. That's my mom, bro. Hide your mom, Ernesto.
Win the line.
All right, rock out. Any final thoughts? I'll be back tonight.
What's the earliest you would take Bowers, or if at all?
In a redraft?
Yeah.
Bowers in a redraft. Very, very tough one. I would say 2. My line in the sand for Bowers is very much in not even the top of 2 as much as like the top to middle. I don't know that I'd say like I'm past the middle on him, but I think like 12 and 13 I'm still probably I maybe do it at 13, not in a lot of drafts, but I'd take him in like 1 or 2, out of every bet. And if I did best ball, I'd take Bowers at that place if he fell in 1 out of every 10 drafts maybe, so 10%. But I think this is where my line in the sand is for Brock Bowers.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking like mid-second or something like that.
Mm-hmm. You know who's going in the third round, rock out? Breece Hall. Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
Kyron Williams. Unreal. Feel like we're back in
third round might be the
last
best
year.
round.
Give me 7 picks in round 3 and no picks in rounds 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 4.
I mean, if you could trade them, trade those picks.
Yeah, I'll have a draft pick trade. People love my draft pick trading videos. I'm gonna do a how to get. Let's see. You move the first rounder into the third, and you get a third, and you move your first rounder into the second.
Mm-hmm.
You move your you get somebody's second and third for your first, and let's call it 6th rounder or whatever. Some people will do it.
With 2 3s.
So then you got 2 2s, you got 2 3s, you got a 4, you got a 5, and you got rid of your 6th rounder. Then you turn your second rounder into a 3rd and 4th, and you surrender a 7th, and now you've got 3 third rounders, and what do I have? 2 4ths or 1? I think 2 4ths maybe. Do I have 3 4ths? 2 4ths. And then you take your 4th and your 5th, you turn into another 3rd. You take your other 4th and 7th or whatever you have left, turn into another 3rd, and you got 5 or 6 picks in round 3. And you just blast through Kyron, Hall, Bucky, JD5, McBride. You just like this is gonna be the best draft pick trading video you've ever seen. 3rd round glory.
Will be a third round merchant.
Yeah, the third round. I don't know what we'll call it. The third round
merchant.
Something. All right, we'll see you later. Good idea for a video though, but I'll definitely write that down. We'll do that video soon. Third round video. I'll put that on the list. All right, rock out. Appreciate you, bro. Later.
All right.
Travis, anything else?
Yeah, do you think in the draft, do you see someone like Vegas or even the Jets trying to trade up? Or do you think Tennessee, Cleveland just stay put?
Tennessee, Cleveland.
I think Tennessee probably takes a quarterback. But.
Tennessee's at 1, Cleveland's at 2. So no, I don't. I see maybe Tennessee trading down because they feel they can't win. But that's a very not even a great chance of it. I just think it's possible. So Cleveland would be ridiculously dumb to trade out of the 2 pick because Deshaun Watson's not even going to play 2025, and he probably will never play another snap as a starter in Cleveland ever again. So they have no quarterback, and they're sitting at the 2 spot, and they have control their destiny. There's literally no, unless they decide they want to go get Justin Fields and then take Ted McMillan or Travis Hunter, or Jeanty, and then they get honestly, I'd do that. If I had the 1 or 2 pick, I'm bringing in Justin Fields, I'm fixing him, and then I'm drafting Ted, Hunter, or Jeanty, and I'm gonna have a better franchise because of it. But if teams don't,
if you can pull it off,
if teams don't view it that way, then you got to, as Cleveland, you got to take one of those 2 quarterbacks.
And,
all right.
And what do you think of Kellen Moore in New Orleans? We're starting to talk about that.
I think he fails miserably.
Yeah.
I mean, Kellen Moore
doesn't sound like a spot I'd want to go to.
Yeah. I mean, Kellen Moore is. He feels very much like the Miami Mike McDaniel. Is he going to be a good head coach? I mean,
yeah.
He's failed. He's had success and he's failed in the NFL a lot. He's kind of had good and bad. He's a great coordinator. It's tough when he's a coach, and if he goes to one of the worst teams in the National Football League with no quarterback, how is he going to succeed?
New Orleans they have to tank this year. If I was them, I'd trade anyone I could, get any picks I could, and just rebuild from scratch out there. Because Just seems like a black hole of a place right
how
now.
do you do well with no quarterback? I don't know. Like, well, maybe
Right,
they'll take
right.
Fields. I don't know. Fields is the answer for any of these teams, but people don't get it.
Building
Get it.
block at least.
And all the Fields hate. I love it. Keep bringing it. He can't read a defense. Fields. I see everything. I saw the person a little while ago that said Smitty Fields isn't broken. He just is bad. Well, good. Feel however you want to feel. I see it. I see everything. All right, I got to go, Travis. I'll see you tonight.
Yep. Later.
Hey, Smitty, curious which wide receiver and running back you think Washington should target in this year's draft? Great question, Calvin. Appreciate you, my boy. I think Washington probably needs to trade up because all the great wide receivers will be gone. And Mbuka would be an interesting, intriguing player. Luther Burden is really, really solid. Obviously, Ted McMillan and Hunter are smashes, but I don't know. I'd probably say Mbuka, if we're talking about trying to trade up into a not into the top 15, just trying to find a way to get Mbuka. Mbuka would be great. Tez is pretty good. Tez is everyone's excited about him. He'd be pretty good in Washington. He's 150 pounds. Everybody's excited about him. He's like the big name right now. He's the Tank Dell, really, of this class. Very interesting player. But Washington would be good for him. It would be a good place for him because Kingsbury would get him in open space and use him like Worthy. Worthy is a very light, very injury-prone wide receiver because he's so small, right? Well, look how Casey gets him in open space. That's what you need. In Washington, Kingsbury would be the right place for him. So those would be my two players, Mbuka and Tez. I'll see you all later. See you tonight. Appreciate you. Thank you for my super chats, Gary, Dan, and Calvin. And I don't know if we had any celebratory. We didn't. I'll see you tonight, guys.